Hey, 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 hey. Once again, welcome to the Total Wellness Show with Terrence on 108 Praise Radio. Healthy, happy Monday. I'm trying to say that real fast. Healthy, happy Monday. It's a great Monday afternoon. The sun is shining. It's a beautiful day. We're healthy, we're happy, we're strong, we're energetic, we're bright-eyed. Oh my God, today has been an amazing day. Last weekend was amazing. It's crazy. I'm like, what was the echo?
I'm already messing things up.
No, you're good. You're good. Look, we are happy to be here today. We are blessed. We are super energetic. Life is really amazing. When you take time to really show gratitude about your life and your current situations, you really get to really appreciate the great things in your life, whether it's your health, whether it's family members, it's finances, everything, man. It's such a beautiful thing. And I'm just so happy to be in great spirits once again today, not just because we're live on the show, but because, it's just life is just feeling good. I'm feeling healthy. I'm feeling strong. I'm feeling like, oh, my God, everything is everything,
Absolutely.
I'm feeling amazing right now. So anyway, let me give out a quick shout out to my sponsors. I can't start the show without saying what's up to them. Anyway, Ms. Royce Evans, thanks again, once again, for being a sponsor of this show and also for everything else that you've been really throwing out there for me. Sharon Mason, thank you once again for being a sponsor of the Total Wellness Show with Terrence. Dr. Troy Gathers, 1670 Clothing Line. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. Shout out to Nurse Lisa Graham. I appreciate you and congratulations once again for the WeCanWin.org collaboration with the Latino community as far as bringing diabetes awareness and preventive education, to the Latino community. That is huge. Congratulations, my friend, and I can't wait to help you promote that program. Thank you so much for allowing me to be a part of that. And also this week, the Georgia Diabetes Coalition, appreciate y'all for allowing me to become a member with that and really promote that coalition, that movement to stomp out diabetes. If you don't know me, then I'm a huge advocate for diabetes, being once a type 2 diabetic myself. So, thank you for letting me share my story, my strategies, and my tips of diabetes reversal and really being an instrument for change in the community. So, another thing is like, life is too short. And I always say this on the show. Take time to embrace your loved ones. Show love. Give a compliment, give a hug, give a kiss, tell them I love you, I miss you, all that. Because life is too short. People are dying all around us every day. Don't take it for granted, Just pay attention to your loved ones, especially the elders, especially the kids. They need that the most. So it's not just about you when it comes down to your health and wellness. It's definitely about your family. It's definitely about everybody that's in your circle, your community. So do not be selfish, but also practice self-care principles, but I know that sounds kind of like a little backwards, but trust me, this works because you have to be strong enough for yourself before you can be strong enough to take care of anybody else. So, I like to push that message. So anyway, moving on with this show, I have the lovely Miss Megan Sparks here. She is the founder of
A Model for Humanity.
A Model for Humanity. You know what? I looked at you because I fumbled.
Forgot, yes.
I fumbled it. I knew it was something like that. I'm like, oh my God, I just fumbled that. But that's exactly right. She is the founder of A Model for Humanity, philanthropist, author, life coach, keynote speaker. And what else?
It's funny. So right now I'm working on a sales presentation, and it's just about interpreting and using body language. So I read the eye language and the body language immediately. You're like, I forgot.
Yeah. I had the name, but I was like, uh-oh. I had it backwards. And I didn't want to fumble it up because that's something that, I take pride. I don't want to fumble people's names or organizations. I don't like doing that. So I had to pay attention to that. So I read your bio that you sent me.
Okay.
What an amazing story. I am such a huge fan of everybody who went through a lot and able to come out on the other side like it's not like it didn't even happen. I admire individuals like that. I have to know, you know, what did it take to get you through there? What was your motivation? What was your why to do it?
That's a long story. So, and people kind of funnel things differently, and a lot of that has to do with your personal perspective and your ambition, and a lot of, you know, I strongly believe that a lot of people are just type A or type B personalities. So who you are innately and what you go through kind of determines that. You can have children from the same family raised in the same environment, and they will turn out substantially different, because it depends on how you funnel that and what you know, your life experience, what you take and decide to do with it innately. But yeah, I was raised very poverty stricken, a lot of times homeless, or, you know, rent by the week hotels, motels. We've gone through a lot of adversity. I dropped out of high school at 15, and I was educated by 17 and stayed on a little bit longer at, I don't know if anybody knows what Job Corps is, but I put myself into Job Corps, and I stayed on a little bit longer to help with some of the inner city kids that were struggling to get their GEDs. So I've been mentoring inner city youth and at-risk youth since I was about 17 years old.
That's what's up. Awesome.
So lately I went through, as far as health and wellness though, I went through a battle with cancer about 2 years ago. And after cancer, I struggled with my health so much. So I had 32 bladder infections and kidney infections to the point where the antibiotics stopped working.
Yeah.
So the doctors pretty much said, you know, at some point your kidneys will shut down and it's not going to work anymore. I was going once a week to a hospital to get IV antibiotics, and I decided to start doing my research. I was like, there has to be an alternative to death, because I'm not going to sit here and wait until it's too late.
Death, right, exactly. Yeah.
Because someone that we put in an authoritative position in society, doctors, police officers, a lot of people we put on pedestals, and we trust that they know what information they're giving us is the best information. But a lot of the times that is self-serving. So their best interest is not lying with us, it's lying with someone else.
Right, exactly.
So if we want to do that, we have to, you know, figure out what's best for us as an individual. I went vegan. I stopped eating, you know, meats and processed food.
Yeah, definitely.
Started reading labels. And, you know, God puts everything that we need to heal ourselves on this planet.
Right, exactly.
So I started, if I feel a bladder infection coming on now, I take oil of oregano, holy basil, and black seed oil. Yeah. And it's cured in 3 days. They'll put you on antibiotics for 10 days.
Yeah.
So since I went vegan and started using natural supplements, I haven't had one infection.
Right, so you had to really do the research, implement those type of natural herbs and spices and oils into your diet and your daily routines to become a healthier version of you, because like you just said, you was not sitting around waiting on death. You were going to take matters in your own hands and really make massive changes, not for yourself, but for your loved ones as well.
Of course.
Yeah, and those are big things. And I always say that to people, like, look, you know, if you need the medicine, by all means take it. But if you find new holistic ways of doing things naturally, by all means do that.
Absolutely.
You know, take it, because you find out you be doing a greater good for your mind and for your body and for your spirit. So when you start to get well, what was that feeling like overall? I know you was happy and you know, joyous about it, but in your own words, tell me, what was that feeling like?
Well, I tell people all the time, so everything is connected. So if you are mentally or emotionally going through something traumatic, every part of your life is affected. So that will trigger you know, your health, that'll trigger your emotion, everything, you know, even spiritually. Right. If, you know, everybody knows, they'll say, okay, well, my faith was shaken. Okay, well, how was your faith shaken? Was that because you gave up hope because your health was affected, or emotionally you were challenged? So all of these things are so closely linked. If one is out of whack, everything's out of whack. Right. So once your health starts getting better, then you notice, okay, well, spiritually I'm feeling better, mentally I'm feeling stronger, I'm getting more accomplished during my day because everything's so closely tied together. Even when I got cancer, it wasn't by accident. I had been through a lot traumatically directly before that. So I'd lost a company. I went through a divorce. My company had changes. My daughter's father passed away of cancer.
Sorry to hear
So I
that,
went through so much emotionally. It is not accidental that I got cancer, directly after that. I think, of course, my faith was shaken. My, mentally, emotionally, I was just going through so much turmoil. It affected my health.
Yeah, definitely. It was the stress levels was extremely high. Especially losing a company and losing a loved one, a spouse. That would trigger a lot of emotional feelings and things in you. That's going to really trigger other, health risks as well. It elevated so much emotion in you, the hormonal changes, appetite changes, lack of sleep. All those things can really have an impact from stress levels or loss of a loved one, loss of a company. A lot of people, they don't understand. So how did you deal with it all? How did you say, you know what? I'm going to pull myself up by the bootstraps. I'm going to deal with this. How did you do it?
I'm telling you, God sat me down by giving me cancer. He had to settle me because I'm a very strong-willed woman. I'm always been that way. So I wasn't going to sit down and be quiet.
Right.
So
you're stubborn.
I'm stubborn. Yes, very. Almost to the point it almost killed me. But I really had a lot of time to think. So I remember sitting in the hospital bed. I had gotten sepsis after one of my surgeries for cancer, and the doctor didn't know if I was going to make it or not. Sepsis is very serious. It goes through your bloodstream, and they couldn't get my my heart rate under control or any of my bodily functions. So, at one point they're like, I don't know if she's going to make it. So I'm laying there, and that's when I decided to start writing a book. And
let's plug your book. What's the name of your book? Where can they find it? Right quick? Let's plug it right quick.
Well, it's in final editing in New York right now. So it'll be released in probably 4 weeks. And I hope I'm not overly optimistic because I've been in the process of writing it for 2 years. But I don't want to rush it because it's very personal. It goes through my whole life. And I want to make sure everything in it is correct. And I'm projecting everything that I want to project. So so I'm assuming after 2 years it's going to be about 4 weeks.
Is about ready?
Yes.
You excited about it?
I am. But it's called Unseen Barriers, so it kind of goes through not only the obstacles that I had to go through and how to overcome those, how I overcome them.
Right.
Kind of unseen barriers that women, minorities, and other people have placed on them by society that mentally are imposed on us, that are, they're not visible, but they're definitely there.
Things you can really look for. Things that not as visible, but you say, you know what, I'm going through this, I'm feeling this, but let me look for these things. Like when you Google things and you Google symptoms, you Google prevention measures, and then things will pop up that you never even thought about. And those are the things that help you to put the puzzle all together and catapult you to the next level as far as health and wellness. And the more you pay attention to yourself and what's going on around you, the better you're going to become. The stronger you're going to become, the more you're going to learn about yourself or whatever ailment that you're going through. And I can say that firsthand because I didn't know what was going on with me when I had my situations. But when I started paying attention to, my mind, my body, my thoughts, and how I was feeling emotionally and spiritually, it really triggered some things in me to figure out, what can I do or how can I go about doing it? Why am I going through this? And it's a big deal. A lot of people, they don't understand when something happens to them or they get diagnosed with something, they just take it. It's a gut-wrenching blow.
Right.
But it's like, oh my God, and then they just deal with that instead of just taking everything by the reins and say, let's go. I can do this. I can get better. I can become better than this. I can overcome whatever I'm overcoming. And that's a huge thing. So let's talk about the foundation. Why did you get started with that? How did you get started with that?
I can't say why, other than I just had this. So after I got sick, I started writing the book, and it was just every thought I had was, I was doing great in my career. I was doing great financially. Everything was going good for me and my girls. I felt like I was, a strong woman. I was like, okay, I was used to getting patted on the back. Okay, you're a single mom. You're doing good in your career. You're doing great in life. Good job. But when I sat down and thought about it, I was like, I'm not doing anything to help anyone else.
Right.
So when I actually thought that I wasn't going to make it, I didn't have the thought in my head that I was scared to die. I was like, for one, nobody is going to take care of my children. For two, I have this story and I have the potential to help people, and I've done nothing with it. So I really wanted my story out, and I really wanted to impact people's life, especially youth that hasn't really had an opportunity or a choice or positive influences in their life, because I do know how much society influences young people, people in general, but younger people are more easily manipulated by different voices, by influences, by images they see on the television, and a lot of times they don't have enough influences saying, okay, you've been through this, but that is not going to dictate or determine where you're going to end up.
Right. So what's the feedback from your organization right now, your foundation, when you reach out to individuals, the kids right now? Are they more susceptible to you because you went through it? You know, are they more standoffish? Or they don't believe it? I mean, what type of emotions are coming back from them right now?
Actually, that's what the book is, of course, going to give validation to some of that. But I think when you hear someone speak, you can actually feel that experience coming through them. And a lot of that is why I try to convey to domestic violence survivors or anyone that's been through abuse or trauma. A lot of my presentations are just going over what body language you're giving out to other people. Because if you're a domestic violence survivor, or even from a bad neighborhood and you've been through a lot, the body language that you give off, you're unknowingly telling people what you've been through. And that'll impact you in your jobs. That'll impact you in future relationships.
Most definitely.
Because other people will read that unknowingly. And you don't even know you're giving off those,
you have no clue.
Those cues, correct?
You have no clue. Body language and facial expressions, eye contacts, everything are telltale signs of, communication, what you're going through, whether it's negative or positive.
Actually, it's proven only 7% of communication is verbal. We give off majority through body language or, your vocal tone or pitch, the inference in our voices.
Most
so,
a lot of people. So, are you good with body language?
And I think going through certain things makes you very good at that as well. If you were raised in a rough situation or you've been through abuse, it's almost a survival technique to be able to read people's facial expressions or their body language. I can tell if somebody has the way somebody's feet are pointed, whether they're engaged or they're not engaged. And I'm a presenter at work as well, so I have to know if my audience is engaged with me.
Exactly.
And I have to know how to hold my hands to not be offensive. And there's just a lot that goes with body language that people don't realize they're doing.
Right. People, they do not realize they're doing negative body languages. Some people just naturally standoffish.
Exactly. That's
grumpy facial expressions, everything. Like I go to certain events or I see people, I'd be like, oh Lord. Yeah, I already know that is, it's going to be an issue, as far as, if somebody's going to pay attention to me or they're standoffish or whatever. And it's cool. Yeah, I understand that. I can identify with a lot of those things. But I find, how do you find ways to break the ice with them to really lower people's defenses when it comes down to communicating with them or effective communication with them?
So there's a few tactics to make, and that's really, really important when you're presenting. I've seen a lot of presenters present to domestic violence survivors, and even if they're survivors, they get in their emotions, which is okay, but a lot of times you put people on the defense when you're speaking to, and especially when it's youth. You have to, I would say the tone of your voice accounts for just as much as body language.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And
you can't come off abrasive and very assertive and aggressive. That's totally a no-no.
Or if your pitch is high-toned or you always want to stay in the low ranges. People tell me all the time, they're like, you're very easy to talk to. I think it's because I have a comforting voice, but I've trained myself to do that. You know how to open your hand. You always want to show the outside be open, because that's a sign of it's okay, this is a safe place, you can come in.
You are inviting people in to the message that you're giving them versus being a supinated type grip. You know,
Yes.
you're doing the open handed grip, which is more like, okay, I'm inviting you in. It's relaxing. Is calming. You know, it's very soothing over here. So whatever your issues or problems are, you can actually lay them here with me, versus being super aggressive,
Yes.
very boisterous.
I see a lot of survivors or people in a bed, they have insecurities. So you can also tell if somebody's insecure by the way
Yeah.
they hold their hands, or, you know, they put a barrier up if they cross their legs, and
Yeah.
that's a natural response to keep people away from them.
Right.
And of course that's natural. But going into relationships or job interviews, or I don't think they know that it impedes them in a certain way.
Yeah, yeah.
So if I can help people get over some of the language that they're giving off unknowingly, because they'll say, I'm open, I'm honest, I'm a nice person, I'm a good person. Yes, you are.
Yeah.
But somebody can already read
Right.
what you've been through without you saying
Definitely. So judging from my body language right now, what would you describe?
it. You're a confident male. You're very relaxed.
I'm very relaxed. I'm very inviting, and
The tone of your voice accounts for a lot too. You have the radio voice going on. It's very inviting and calm and relaxed.
I'm trying to stay that way because it's important to keep the stress levels down. Now, sometimes, you know, if I'm aggravated, I'm a whole different person, and I hate being that way.
Right.
You know, I do not like being aggravated. If I see situations, like you said, body language, facial expression, I'm like, this may potentially be an issue. Yeah, I don't like those things, you know, so I try to stay calm as much as possible. I don't like the stress, because stress makes you sick.
Right. Oh, exactly.
You know, it makes me uncomfortable. But then again, there are some good stress, but the bad stress I don't like.
You can control other people's emotions too.
I'm good at that.
They call it mirroring or mimicking, and
Yeah.
you do that naturally. So if you're doing something, I'm going to mimic you to create that bond. If you're smiling, I'm going to smile.
Right.
And then pretty soon you'll adapt to that, and then I'll change my style and
Right.
see if you follow. And if you
Right.
follow, then you can change the whole mood of someone.
You're gonna have
or
to
control the
watch
situation.
Megan. You're gonna have to really pay attention to Megan, because she's studying you. Okay, she's going to determine what type of person you are, whether she's want to do business with you or counsel with you or whatever it is. You're gonna have to watch this one. Obviously, right now, she's telling you.
I am, and I really think it's important for people to know, and it's something that people don't
Yeah, most definitely.
put an importance on.
It works in your professional life, your personal life, across the board. That type of stuff works.
I am in construction as well, so I'm one of the only females that do what I do. So for people to engage with me, and especially in an all-male field,
Right,
it's
right.
very hard. So for
Yeah.
them to gain their respect,
Uh-huh.
I really have to know what I'm doing when I get in there, because they're already, just because I'm a female,
Right.
have an assumption about me. They're on the defense. They're leery about me. And I really have to know how to control that situation.
Yeah. So how do you feel? You think you're really good at it?
Of course I'm good at it.
See the confidence in her response when she said that. Of course I'm good at it. What are you talking about? You know, that's amazing. So let's talk about the vegan lifestyle right now. How long you been a vegan?
Oh my gosh, not long.
Not long gone?
It is still a struggle. I told somebody, I'm like, I just want to smell a hot wing. Sometimes.
Oh my God. Look at she's like,
She's like,
yeah.
oh no, don't come by me, I'll smell it.
So how long has it been since you've been practicing that lifestyle?
Months, and I can't say that I don't fail. So I want to
Yeah.
tell people, I feel like when we come on here, and I don't like preaching to people, because
Yeah.
everything that I've been through, it takes time and effort.
Of course,
And I
yes.
feel like if somebody cheats, they feel like they failed and they're just
Right.
going to stop altogether.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I cheat.
Yeah.
You know,
I cheat too.
It happens.
Yes.
I'm a vegan, not for animal rights reasons. I'm a vegan for
Lifestyle.
my lifestyle and my personal health. I'm not going to stay up and lose sleep if I eat a chicken wing.
Right,
But am I
right.
going to do it again like 10 days in a row?
No, probably
That's not going to happen.
Probably not. She's veganish sometimes.
I'm ish. I'm on the
There's
ish line.
there's a lot of issues going on.
It was funny when I first started. My daughter's like, "What are you eating?" And I'm like, "I'm eating a chickenless chicken taco with
I
cheeseless
know, right?
cheese." I'm like, I
Yeah,
don't.
yeah. How's the taste?
It's an
Yeah, you have to adjust your taste buds.
I like it
extremely
now,
well.
so-
yeah, you gotta, yeah.
For me, I've been doing it long enough where if I do cheat and have a chicken wing, I'm almost ill for a while, right? It tastes so good and I can keep smelling it, but I'm almost sick over it.
Yeah.
So my body's not used to that any longer, which is a good thing. And I feel sluggish.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I need that energy. Even my pre-workouts, once you start working out, that creates endorphins and just, you know, you start making small changes in your life, and those, you know, those changes get larger and larger and larger throughout time, and you see your progress.
Yeah, small victories count. I'm telling you.
And my ladies, like, I tell my women all the time, so I used to be one of those women that watched all my calories, but I didn't watch what I was consuming. I was just purely off of calories. And I watched the scale so closely, and then I saw my progress, and, you know, I have a 4-pack now, and I work out almost every day.
A fist pump.
And I went from 128 to 150. And I thought that would just be detrimental to me. And now when I look in the mirror and I see pictures, I'm like, no, I like my body much better where it's at right now. It's really what you're consuming and, you know, what you're happy and comfortable with. And I would never go back to watching the scale that closely again. That was...
I hate watching the scale. I tell all my clients, don't worry about the scale. Just focus on, you know, visual images, focusing on how the way your clothes fit you, and go from there. Focus on, you know, just the inches. The scale, throw out the scale. Don't worry about the scale, because the scale is going to really throw you off when you're trying to make significant progress, whether it's weight gain or weight loss.
Right.
You know, the scale is going to really throw you off, because especially with women, you're going to get hormonal changes, you're going to get water weight, you're going to get muscle, and you're going to be like, oh, before you know, you want to throw the scale out the door. You know what I'm saying? Don't pay attention to the scale. You know, I want to go back to what you said about, you know, if you go and you have a chicken wing and you say you screw up. Look, we all screw up, you know, but it does not mean that you fail. You just pick up the next day where you screw up at, and then you go for it. Like some people say, hey, you know, I'm gonna try to do 21 days of whatever the challenge may be. And let's just say you made it like 7 days, and then you go get a chicken wing. Look, don't worry about it. You know, just pick up where you left off. Get motivated and say, okay, cool, I'm gonna start again. You know, let me just go. You know, and that's a funny thing, because most people say, oh, that was a cheat day. You know, do you have cheat days or cheat meals? Which one?
No, I have like cheat snacks usually.
Cheat snacks, okay. Cheat snacks. Chocolate? Are you a chocolate lover?
No, I'm not. I've never been a sweets person. I'm purely salt. French fries and wings. Like,
oh my God, French fries, one of my favorite foods.
I know, it's horrible. Like, if I crave anything, it's always lemon pepper wings and fries. I don't really crave anything else.
Lemon pepper wings and fries. That's a good craving, though. I love lemon pepper
You're like,
wings.
gosh darn it, now I want.
Yeah, I haven't had wings in a minute.
Really?
Yeah. Certain foods, I said, you know what? I'm not going to even touch, because I can't just eat 6 or 12. I might eat so many of them. Certain foods I just stay away from. Macaroni and cheese, all that stuff. I don't. Ribs, I do not touch.
I've been on a diet so it's easier for me because I've always been on a diet. So I've always had to practice. I was 200 pounds growing up. I was bullied for being obese. So when I hit around 22 or 23, I really started watching what I eat, and I practiced moderation.
Yes.
More than, you know, okay, I'm never going to eat this. So I was used to only eating one wing just to fill that small craving. So, you know, gluttony was never an issue since I was younger. But then I had to start really looking at what was going into the foods and looking at labels and, you know, why is Europe banning these foods from being imported to their country? It must be not good whatsoever. And then I started thinking what I'm putting into my children's body. So, you know, it was more of a life change for me. Not
it's a lifestyle change.
Definitely.
You know, and it, like you just said, your children, so it's not just you.
Right.
So are you introducing them to the veganish lifestyle?
No, I leave that a choice to them. I don't ever want to force anything in my children, but then I noticed when I started going, I go to an outdoor gym like 3 times a week, and when I go to the gym, I'm wearing a 50-pound weight vest. I mean, I've been doing it for so long.
Right.
But my middle child, she started going with me, and she'll take her yoga mat out there.
Awesome. That's what's up.
And when she went to Illinois, everybody was like annoyed when she went to the grocery store with them, because they're like, we can't ever get out of here because Emma keeps reading all the labels and it takes forever.
All day.
So I know just by me changing my lifestyle, they're wanting to change theirs. Right. But I cook, so I do my meal prep separate than their meal prep. So my middle child eats what I do, and the other two don't yet, but I make sure I watch what I cook for them anyways, even if it's not vegan, that I'm cooking 4 times a week and I'm not pushing junk food on them.
Right, definitely. And kids are more impressionable when it comes down to meals, especially because they're going to look to see what mother is eating, and then they're going to try that and implement that, and they're going to see results. They're going to see you more happier, or, looking in the mirror or trying on clothes, and then as they grow up, they say, well, I grew up in a veganish household. Mom made this, mom cooked that.
You said veganish?
Veganish.
I saw mom, she'd eat a wing every once in a while.
Hey, what's up, James, Anita, David, Fries? What's going on? Thank you so much for tuning in. Total Wellness Show with Terrence on 108 Praise Radio. We are here with the lovely Megan Sparks. Got any questions for Megan? Call in. Look, I really appreciate you taking the time to come in here because I know you're super busy. And I got your text on yesterday. I was like, I didn't think you was going to make it. No. But for you to come here and, share some stories and talking about your foundation and everything like that, that's very encouraging for a lot of people. Like, I love interviewing people who were in the trenches, who actually got in the mud, got their fingers dirty, got their boots dirty, and able to come out on the other side like nothing happened, and able to share their stories to help millions of people around the world. I'm so encouraged by that because everybody wants to see the success stories. They see the outside shell of you, and all of a sudden, it's like, oh my God, she got it going on, or he got it going on, he has it going on, but they just don't know that battle.
Right.
They don't know those health concerns, those issues, losses from family members, loved ones, spouses. People don't know the heartbreaks, the hardships. And they just want to see the big smile on your face. They just want to see the pictures on social media. And it's like, oh, my God, this is this and this and that. But I love hearing the struggles. Like, those stories are so inspiring to me. They're so motivating to me because, we all go through our thing, and so many people went through so much. And right now, they're still going through a lot of things. So when I hear stories, when I read, inserts of your bio, I was like, wow, that is crazy. And you can sit here and then share everything that you went through, and no telling who's listening to this,
right.
who you can encourage, and who are you encouraging right now, especially the young adults. It's a lot of people going out there right now who's dealing with domestic violence, who's dealing with cancer, who's dealing with obesity issues. You still can come out on the other side victorious. If you have the right inspiration or motivation, the right images, the right stories that's going to compel you to push yourself even further. Because I think that's lacking, in today's communities. Like, people are looking for inspiration and looking for help. They're looking for an increase of awareness or prevention or whatever the case. They need individuals like yourself to really go out there and say, I did this, I suffered from this, I changed everything up. I came through. I made it through, and I'm still battling. The fight is real. The struggle is real.
Of course.
So, I commend you for that. That is huge. Marlon Allen, what's going on? She holding up names. I did. Hey, Meg. See, I know. It's eventually somebody's gonna come in and say, "Hey, Megan," That's dope. So let's talk about the modeling thing. How long you been modeling?
Oh my gosh, longer than I tell people. I'm so much older now. I'm a role model. I'm not a model anymore.
You're a role model.
Awesome. I'm like, eventually they're just gonna stop asking me because I'm gonna be like, no. I think here's what I tell people, and I think there's a problem in society where they feel like if you're a model that you are not able to be an effective leader as a female. They make this assumption about you and what your personality is. And I tell people all the time, I'm like, you go to the beach, and I don't care if you're 12, 2, or 70, you have a swimsuit on. So, and as a domestic survivor, domestic violence survivor, that is the one thing that people try to take away from you is your femininity or how you feel about yourself. It took me a very long time to even add color to my wardrobe. So I know they don't know the impact of it, or they won't until the book comes out, but everything that I do is very intentional.
Yeah.
So
strategic.
It is. So if I'm saying, okay, I'm a female, I'm a leader in the community, I'm a leader at my profession, and I'm a single mom, and yes, I can still be a swimsuit model and still keep my dignity, that is a possibility. And females need to know that that is able to be done, because I think still in society they make this assumption about your personality or your dignity, and especially if you have a curvy figure. I'm just going to say that right now. A swimsuit looks very, very different on a very thin woman compared to a woman with curves. And I just think that's an issue in society, because I'll get a lot of direct messages. And so I only respond to the ones that are positive or people needing help.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get famous people in there and my direct messages, and I'm just like, yeah, it's not what it's there for. You need to read the post.
You know, look, direct messages. Oh my God. I can identify with that. Okay, trust me. But when people make a status post, read the post. Because a lot of times, 90% of the time, is for encouraging you or inspiring you. But most people go straight to the photo and miss the whole message about the post. You know, so when people direct message me, I'd be like, did you read the post?
Exactly.
Read the post. Don't just get in there and start asking me about my relationship statuses and all that other stuff like that. It's like, oh my God. You know what I mean? I'm not here for that.
What is your status?
Oh, no.
See, here we go. See. Anyway, if you're just tuning into the Total Wellness Show with Terrence, now they want to turn it into a relationship show. Oh my God. You know what I mean? It's like, really?
They're probably asking about Meg, too, because Meg is...
Well, I already know they probably asking about Meg. Meg get that all the time.
That's kind of where it's going.
Yeah, they're not thinking about me. They're thinking about her.
Oh, he said Jazz, not Marlon.
Yeah, he's actually in, I did a theater play, and a lot of, there's just such a great group of people. Miss Carolyn Moore, she does a domestic violence play, and I was involved in a few of those, and she is just amazing. So that group is, we stay following each other. It's just a tight group. So.
Well, I appreciate you guys for tuning in. Thank you so much. You know, following Meg here, and then, you know, just showing love to the platform. Got a phone call?
No,
Call in.
questions.
Anybody got questions for Meg about her health and wellness? What motivates her? What's her why right now? I'm asking the question, so you can go ahead and what's your why right now? What's your purpose? What's your motivation?
It's my why. You know, people always ask me who I aspire to be like, and I always just want to be a better version of myself.
Yeah, for sure.
So if I aspire to do anything, and what motivates me is if I can help anyone, like the people that are actually in my direct messages that say, and especially the females, because of course I'm used to males being in my direct messages, but when
you already know, just be like, look, let me hit her up right quick.
So when a female does, and they're like, you really inspire me, and I get a lot of women in their 40s, and they're like, you know, you really make me feel like I'm able to still look good and feel good and be an attractive, sexy leader and do everything that I'm doing, and everybody still wants to feel attractive. That's whether you're a female or male.
Or male, yeah, definitely.
So when they see me and the moves that I'm making, and they say, I want to aspire to do that, that makes me feel good. So as long as I still keep getting that, I'm going to keep still doing what I'm doing.
Right, so that means that you still have it and you're still making a tremendous impact.
Well, for everything, I get cancer patients in there, I get domestic violence survivors, and you know, I get young girls in there. How can I be a model? How can I do this? And I'll tell them all the time, I'm like, it's more than just being attractive.
Right.
You have to be a good person. You have to work hard. You have to have, you know, motivation. There's more in life than just being attractive, because that's...
You can be attractive and have a real sucky attitude, too.
You can,
You know, and it show up on your photos. Sometimes you see, like, she got a real bad attitude. I don't like people with real bad attitudes.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan.
Yeah, I'm not a huge
They
fan.
got to be around me so I can change their personality.
Yeah, well, see, there you go. You know, and then, you know, she's going to open up.
I'm gonna open you
Open
up.
you up. You know. I was about to say something. Guys, don't be trying to. You're gonna be all in DMing her and all that stuff like that. She's gonna get a lot of DM messages after this. It's crazy. So, what type of advice would you give the young ladies or young women that's coming up right now who's looking at you? What type of advice would you give them for life success?
Just strive to be a leader. So don't aspire. I know a lot of times, and still in today's society, and it's getting better, which I like. A lot of times, little boys are raised to be successful in business, and a lot of times, young women are pushed towards marriage and finding a good man. And I think that's still instilled to us today. If you find a good man, then you just hit the jackpot.
Right.
I think you should strive to be the best person you can and be a leader in your community and be a leader in your workplace and find somebody that complements you so you have an equal next to you. And I think that is a mistake I made, and it's a mistake that I see a lot of females make and not one that I wanted my girls to make. So that was something I consciously had to decide who I have around me and what I do with my life. I want to show them to be leaders, not marry a leader.
Right. Be a leader in your own life,
Exactly.
and whatever you do, it's like, look, I'm going to take control of my life. I'm going to be an asset to myself, an asset to my family first. If I find the right match for me, then so be it.
Right.
So talk about domestic violence. How do you recognize the signs?
Of domestic violence?
Yeah.
There's always...
I mean, I know the signs. I just want you to share some signs with people, because some people. I'll be honest with you. I was in a situation where I was becoming a victim. I'm like, what is this?
Yes, no.
I'm like, what is this? I was like, somebody better call 911 before something go down. And I had to leave that situation because I wasn't the one that gonna put up with all that. So I know the signs, but.
And I think that is, I think it happens to males a lot.
Yeah, it just people we don't report it because we macho, we're too strong.
Or you leave because you have the capability to leave faster than a female. Only when men stay, a lot of times it's for the kids, they're protecting their children.
Yeah.
Which is a sad situation either way because it's no way to live. There are a lot of telltale signs. People will become introverted. They won't go out as much. They fall away from their family and friends. They're uncomfortable with eye contact. Their body language is very guarded. They miss work. They're just not as social anymore because they're feeling trapped, or they're feeling... A lot of times they're not just going to come out and say it, hey, I'm getting abused at home, because they're scared and they're nervous. But again, I read body language, so I can tell, if somebody's been going through something. I can tell if somebody's lying to me just by the way they hold their face.
I'm gonna tell you what I went through when I was dealing with that situation. I was pissed. I was irritable. I was angry. I didn't want to come home because I was afraid if I come home, this is gonna be the day somebody's gonna come get me. So I had an exit plan. I had to remove myself, and I don't look, men. Let me talk to the men right quick. If you are in a situation where you're being abused physically, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, you got to go. I'm going to tell you something that a lawyer told me 15 years ago. Do not be afraid to call 911 if you feel like you're in a situation. It doesn't have to be an ego thing. You're not being less than a man. You're protecting yourself. Trust me when I tell you this one right here, because you get to the point when you get so aggravated, so pissed off with that, you're going to react in a negative way. And that's not a good thing for you. That's not a good look for you, because you're going to end up on the downside of that situation easily. So you got to get out. You got to remove yourself. You have to practice self-care. And when you do that, you increase your wellness. You say, okay, I feel better now. The stress is down. I have peace. I'm going to walk away. If you're in a situation where you got to walk, you have to walk away 0 to 60 seconds or less. If you're in an abusive relationship, if men, women, but I'm talking to the men specifically right now because we don't talk about that.
Right.
We're too macho, we're too strong to talk about domestic violence and relationships, and especially verbal
That happens more
Verbal.
often than not with males.
Yeah, with males, you know, if your spouse, girlfriend, loved one is really verbally attacking you constantly, you have to get out. Okay, because emotional abuse and verbal abuse is worse than physical.
Oh, yes.
You know, men, we love being macho and huge ego, but they soft. You know what I'm saying? That ego get bruised. Boy, we don't know how to deal with that.
I think I've been both. So I've been physically abused, but I was also in a very mentally abusive relationship. And I really think the mental abuse was harder for me to get past, because once the physical stops, it still has an impact in your life. You're scared of people. You don't trust people. But when you're mentally abused for so long, it really takes some time to get over that,
Those
because
scars.
you start believing everything that they tell you about yourself.
Yeah. Those mental scars, I mean, they last a long time. And it really goes in, it makes it harder for the next person
Of course.
who may be interested in you. And if that person has a negative body language, facial expression, make negative, you're already out.
Well, the part
Done.
and males are stronger, but for females, when you've been emotionally or physically abused, a male will pick up on that eye contact that you're doing. So unknowingly, those females keep attracting the same types of male, because they'll feed on that, because they already know that you have this weakness, and they're looking for that. So you're unknowingly attracting the same person over and over.
Yeah. I'm gonna be very transparent right now. I'm gonna be honest. In the past, I've attracted a lot of women, you know, that had signs down the line of certain elements.
Instability.
I was like, oh, I'm gone. What happened? I can't deal with it. I don't want to deal with it. And I immediately take my past and cut it out. You know, I'm like, I'm not dealing with that. As soon as you start showing any type of sign of you about to be verbal or talking that mess to me, I'm out. I don't need that in my life. I immediately remove myself from any situation, 0 to 60 seconds. Like, I don't care. I'm not dealing with that, because I know the stress it comes with. You know, and I'm trying to focus on a whole lot of things that's positive in the community. I do not want to be involved in any relationship that's going to really bring me down. I don't care who you are. I don't care how you look. I don't care, you know, about none of that. I'm done. You find somebody else with that. I'm so serious about that, because when my stress levels go up, I'm a whole different animal. When I'm stressed and I'm totally upset, and I don't want that. You know, I want peace. I want tranquility. I want to come home and relax and nobody bother me. I'm not saying that everything is going to be peachy and cream every day,
That's not gonna happen.
but if it's major signs or complications, I don't want that. You know, if we married, oh no, I'm gonna find out that before we get married.
Of course.
Before we get down the line in a relationship, I'm gonna find that out. I'm not going to provoke you, but you're going to show some symptoms. I know the signs. I'm not dealing with that. You know what I'm saying? I know I might be a little, funny right now, but I'm like, shoot, I'm not dealing with that.
It does, because it affects everything, every part of your life that touches. If you have a terrible home life, and you see that with children or adults, it affects every piece of your health, your mental, your emotional, and the rest of when they say it rains, it pours, it truly does. But that is because everything's so closely connected. You got to keep everything healthy and working in order.
I need to be in my right mind. Anyway, if you tune into the Total, she looked at me like, oh my God. If you tune into the Total Wellness Show with Terrence on 108Praise Radio, we are here with the lovely Megan Sparks. Tell everybody where they can find you.
I am on Facebook and social media at Megan Sparks 19, and amodelforhumanity.com is my webpage.
Mm-hmm. So don't go in and start DMing her, okay, about all the crazy stuff.
Or if you send me a picture of your anatomy, I might make fun of it. You might get an ego blow.
Look, that's the one thing that you should not. If you're a guy, stop that, okay? Females are not turned on by that.
everyone
You're
has
losing.
one. That's the funny part about
Yeah,
it.
you
Like,
know,
I really
stop
know.
with that. That is so lame. I'm gonna be honest with you right now. Don't ever play yourself. You see, if you see a beautiful woman, just give her a compliment and keep it moving. Now, you can't approach this type of woman with not a message because she already identifies your body language, your facial expressions, your eye contact. So she know the buffoonery before you even come over there.
Exactly.
She see you from across the room in 90 seconds or less. She see you from your shoes to your head. She already know if she want to deal with you or not. That's just how she
You
is.
guys are talking about domestic violence. Give them the hotline just in case, because you just never ever know.
Yeah, see, there you go. The producers here, they want to give you the hotline for domestic violence. That's 1-800-334-2836. If you're dealing with domestic violence, that's the hotline. Once again, 1-800-334-2836. Or reach out to Megan Sparks at
Megan Sparks 19 on most social media. I don't have Twitter or Snapchat or anything like that,
It's
so I
all
can't
good.
really say all social
Yeah,
media.
it's,
It's not,
you know,
that's
just
not
get in
factual.
the foundation website, and you know, she's here to help you and share her stories and encourage you on how you become a better version of yourself. If you ever went through that, or you know somebody,
Exactly.
reach out to her foundation or organization and get help, or call the 1-800 hotline domestic violence. And you know, listen, we're here to help. We're here to
Exactly.
bring peace and tranquility back into your life, whether you're dealing with some type of health issue, domestic violence, obesity. It doesn't matter what it is.
We got you covered.
We see, there you
got
go.
you
We
covered.
got you covered. Just don't DM talking about, oh my God, I'm sending an anatomy picture. Don't do that, please.
My wife is treating me terrible. Are you single now?
Yeah, don't do that. You know, if you're married, got a fiance, girlfriend, don't DM the lady, please. You know, don't do it. You know.
Just because you're famous does not mean I'm going to hang out at your hotel and you're not allowed at my house. Just putting that out there.
Boy, I tell you, men, boy, you can't come at Megan because she already know what it's going to be. You know, don't come over here with that crazy stuff. She already know. You know, and don't use business as an end to try to get in. Let me just say this right now. Oh my God, since we got 1 minute. Do not use business as an end to get involved in a relationship. I hate when y'all do that. Oh, yeah, time to go. Anyway, so, you know, stop doing that, man. If you want to do business, okay? But do not use business as a way to get in because you see an attractive person on social media or whatever
Exactly.
like that. Don't do that because, you know, very attractive people, intelligent people who are business-minded, they are not into that, okay? So tread lightly. So anyway, we're wrapping it up, the Total Wellness Show with Terrence on 108 Praise Radio. Every Monday afternoon between 6 and 7, we're here with Megan Sparks. We thank you so much for tuning in, and we see you next week. And hope to see you there actually next week. And keep tuning in every Monday. So without good health, it can be no wealth. So take care of yourself and pay attention to everything that's going on around you, and you're going to be great. All right? Later.